Hi there, how you doing? A very good morning. This is me, Justine Kapani, the founder CEO of a setup in Delhi by the name of I'm Decor and Design. We're in the business of designing and manufacturing home and office decor and interior solutions. And it's the start of May, and April is just gone, and it kept me thinking about a few things. And one of the really interesting stuff that kept playing on me and my mind was my trip to Leh Ladakh, and I've been sharing pictures of those and stuff. And it's not because I follow Buddhism, but it was just that I was so attracted to the place that I actually ended up being there on the drop of a hat, a spontaneous decision and stuff. And here is a read before me, which is in the paper, which has actually made me revisit this whole idea of how important spending time away from the hustle bustle, the so called race, the so called competition, the so called challenges of daily life in a metropolitan city or anywhere in the world, as a matter of fact, is. You got to kind of embrace solitude, and if you can feel or create the ambience or feel like just you're in the same place, which is one of your favorites, like a monastery, which I've visited many times there, you'll understand what I mean, because the kind of peace, the kind of solitude, and the kind of realizations you have when you embrace solitude is totally beyond explanation and stuff. So as I visited this monastery, and I was sitting there, and I was in Leh Ladakh for about 7-10 days. I had these realizations that people in the hill stations and mountains and stuff keep it so simple. They live a simple life. Some of the people didn't even know what a coke was. And here I was from the city, on the streets and stuff, engaging with people. Some of them thought I was a YouTuber. Other people could get it, that I was actually from a metropolitan or a cosmopolitan city and stuff. But as I got talking and everything, I began to question a lot of things and stuff, because when you come back here, you follow social media, you see mentors, you see people, you see, you know, lots of work happening and stuff, and you want to be the same way. And sometimes when you're not able to do that, you get into a questioning mode. Am I doing less? Am I doing more? You start losing touch with the reality and stuff, because everybody else is doing it. You want to do the same stuff. So staying original in that case helps. And this visit taught me in Leh Ladakh that it's so important to understand that in many careers or in your life, be it work, be it wherever you are, being ambitious is required. But when you're in a place like a Leh Ladakh or any other place which is laid back, maybe a country place as well and stuff, you'll realize that all this ambition and everything is for what? Living a normal life or living a regular life is not that bad as it is. So a set of lines which got me thinking about this is solitude treated as a teacher and a discipline of silence and stuff, because when you're drawn away from worldly concerns, you recognize that there is this inner shift or your inner orientation which is changing, and which at times leads people to want a monastic way of life, where you're increasingly driven to practices of meditation, yoga, and living life on a solitude level and stuff. So this author says that he is very grateful for the guidance that he got from his guru, because without it, the spiritual path would have not been so enlightening, and his life would have become a marketplace, or he would be functioning like a marketplace, buying, selling, functioning in a chaotic manner, or in a pretty, money oriented manner and stuff and all. And he says, as I was, so he's also talked about Ladakh here. I had no idea, because I've just had a glance of this. So he says that, when I was actually spending some time at Ladakh, the deep silence, the wind, the vast sky, all of that, including the silence and solitude, served as a quiet teacher for me in its own right. And in the own path of awakening, I understood that there has to be discernment in life where people have to break through the same expectations or the way the world functions and stuff. And he says, when solitude was chosen, my ego did not surrender easily, and silence revealed its restlessness. And in the beginning, the mind searched for movement, affirmation, reassurance. Old habits started surfacing in stuff, and this ego craved distraction, conversation, roles, and recognition. And in isolation, uh, I mean, I've also been off work for a bit, off and on. I mean, because I've been going through my neck cervical and stuff. And I've been also meditating and practicing this a lot. I relate so much with him that, in isolation stage, there's quite rebellion and doubt and a life looking for something different. And he says, living alone in the mountains, watching these movements and stuff, and allowing the stuff to flow. As I shared yesterday, or shared this I think last year or a couple of times, he says, without my audience, without my social media, without the recognition of other people, my ego weakened. And because the real practice was staying alive, it was stillness. Boredom came in, fear came in, and all these feelings of belonging and wanting to do more came more to me, but they rose and they fell. So he says, when we are trying to resist something in the present, suffering comes in, and as resistance softens up, we become gentle, and our days become simple, our life becomes simple. Meditation, prayer, walking in the air, walking under the sky, and embracing dharma and karma becomes the goal or the motto. And there is a certain shift from darkness to light in the barren mountains and within the moon and stars and stuff. He says this kind of solitude is uncompromising because what it only reminded him was to be in the present and live in the moment, enjoy it, and be alive. So I've experienced this today. I mean, I was working on Sunday, and I had half a day yesterday of work and stuff, and I woke up in the morning and I was thinking the same thing that I should probably take my car and go to the office and just be at what I'm doing consistently and stuff. So when I woke up in the morning, by chance or by luck, there's no electricity here. So I feel like I'm in the hills. I look out of my window, I look at nature, I look at greenery, I look at people around. I stay in a high-rise building and stuff. I look at the sky and I think about what I did yesterday. I went for a walk, I came back, I felt good. I went looking at golf, and I took a break from my work. And the working part of me, or the professional side of me, or the achiever side of me wanted me to be in the office and continue doing it. But I said, hey, you know what? Take it easy. Spend some time meditating. Spend some time at home. Spend some time with yourself and stuff, and see how you feel about it. And as you meditate, as you chant, or as you engage in a spiritual practice or in solitude, there's definitely going to be a different way of doing things and stuff, and not doing it the way other people are doing and stuff. So rather than being pulled into other people's career plans or their goals or what they're promoting and selling, it's always a good idea to focus on yourself and think about what's important for you, how nicely or gracefully or in a great fashion you want to spend your day, what excites you, what takes you forward. And rest is important. You got to be ruthless in understanding this. Even if you work smart, even if you work hard, even if you work the right way, even if you work in whatever way, the point is you have to rest. And when you rest and you spend time in solitude, you embrace the life around you and stuff, you definitely come back recharge and rebooted. And believe me, staying flexible helps you big time, because sometimes when you're not able to do your stuff at work or personal, which you're meant to do during those disciplined hours of yourself and stuff, you can do those better if you just take a break of a few hours and you refresh again, maybe a little later in the evening and stuff. That will definitely help, okay? So, discipline of silence and solitude is a great teacher, and never be scared of being stripped down, or, not achieving what other people are and stuff, and always embrace your own originality, you got your own journey, you got your own mission, you got your own purpose. So go forward without comparing yourself to anybody, and that way you are able to live a better life of structure and discipline with a lot of enjoyment and great times as well. Make work not the only thing in your life and stuff, spending time with yourself, with your family, with your friends, in nature, playing a sport with a sense of balance definitely helps you big time. So jkapani@gmail.com, justinKapani.im at gmail.com, and Justin Kapani office at gmail.com. You could revisit or see this, share. Oh, the writer is a Buddhist, and he runs and follows the Tibetan tradition. So you could have his thoughts and views and follow them on this column called the Speaking Tree and stuff. And in the end, I'd like to add a few minutes of time spent in solitude definitely become a teacher, because they open up a different world, the inner world, the outer world, and stuff and all. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Embrace silence, embrace, a little bit of me time and stuff, and see how your life feels refreshed, rejuvenated, and you're going to get back even better and stuff. So cheers, and definitely my first cup of coffee. Get some coffee, smell the coffee, and get back to whatever you're doing. But remember to take a break. Bye bye.